Well, hello everybody and welcome to Chef's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some passion fruit melting moments. These are sandwich cookies, so 2 cookies sandwiched with some icing sugar and passion fruit juice as the filling. Very simple to make. I did make them yesterday, but I then discovered that my close camera was entirely out of focus part of the time, so I'm having to do them again today, which is why you may see this video somewhat later than I usually post them. But anyway, it's very simple to make and doesn't take very long. We start off by preheating the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, and line a couple of baking trays with parchment paper, or in my case I'm using silicone mats, but parchment paper is fine. So I'll go on to the ingredients. And for this I have 170 grams of softened unsalted butter, and that's 12 tablespoons. I have 100 grams, 14 tablespoons of icing sugar, 260 grams, 1 2/3 cups plus a tablespoon based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup of plain flour. I have 30 grams, 3½ tablespoons of custard powder. If you don't have custard powder, you could use corn flour. That would work just as well, although it's flavourless and custard powder has a bit of a vanilla flavour to it. I have 30 millilitres, 2 tablespoons of passion fruit juice or pulp. Half's going to go into the pastry and the other half is going to go to make the icing. I have 5 millilitres, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and a pinch of salt. And then for the icing, along with that passion fruit juice, I have 120 grams, about 1 cup of icing sugar. So the first thing we need to do is to cream the 100 grams of icing with the butter as we start to make our pastry. So I'll put my butter into a larger bowl and I'll add the icing sugar, and then I'm just going to use a spatula to start with, just to get the icing sugar started in the bowl. It tends to billow up into clouds if you use a mixer when it's all unmixed, because it's very powdery. And having got that mixed a little bit, I'm going to use my hand mixer, starting off on a low speed and then increasing the speed until the butter and sugar are creamed together nicely. And then I'm going to add in my salt, the vanilla extract, and a tablespoon, 15 millilitres of the passion fruit juice, like that. And I'm going to mix those again until they're fully combined. And that's good like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my custard powder into my flour and just toss that around a little bit to get that mixed through just a bit. And I'll put that into the bowl, and I'm going to mix that on a low speed until it all clumps together forming quite large clumps, and then I can use my hand to squeeze it into a dough. So that's clumped together quite nicely, and I've made sure I've got to the bottom of the bowl to incorporate any dry flour. So I'm going to use my hand just to squeeze that into a dough, and that squeezes in quite nicely, as you can see. And then we need to portion that out into 20 individual portions of the same weight. So this is 28 grams of dough, which, as you can see, is a good 2 to 3 teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon. But that's a tablespoon measure, and so you can do it like that basically. But then once you've got your portion, roll it into a ball and put it onto a baking tray like that, and do the same with the remainder. And with the 2 trays rolled out like that, I'm going to take the tines of a fork and press them into the top, but I'm just going to dip the tines in flour from time to time so that it comes off cleanly. So just like that. And then, with them all pressed down like that, I'm going to put them into my preheated oven, and I'm going to bake them for about 14 to 16 minutes until they just begin to colour slightly on the side. Then I'll take them out of the oven and leave them on the trays for a few minutes. Then I'll transfer them to a wire rack. And once they've cooled down, I'll come back and we'll make our quick icing and put that in the middle. I baked the passion fruit melting moment cookies for 16 minutes. Then I took them out of the oven and left them on the tray for 5 minutes, and then transferred them to a wire rack. So this is what they look like, and I have turned half of them upside down. I've paired them in twos so that they match each other for size pretty much anyway. So I'm going to set that to one side while we make the icing. And for that I'm going to pour in 15 millilitres of the passion fruit juice like that, and I'm going to mix that around, and I have a little drop more if I need it. So if the icing is too thick, you can add a little drop more liquid, water or passion fruit juice, and if it's too wet, you can add a little bit more icing sugar. But I'll mix this until it's nice and thick basically, and I can spoon that onto the biscuits. How thick you make it is actually a matter of preference, but I like it to be thick enough that it sets quite firm. You could also, if you wanted to, add a little bit of butter in to make it more of a sort of buttercream type icing. I'm just going to add a little drop more liquid, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, and see how that goes. And I think that's good enough basically. So I'm going to spoon that onto my biscuits or my cookies in fairly equal amounts. And then I'm going to press the biscuits together, but what I can do, because this is quite firm, is I can just mould that a little bit into the centre, and then take another biscuit, press it on the top and squeeze it until it just fits the side like that. So there are the biscuits sandwiched together like that, and they look quite good. So you can leave those to set up, but I'll have a taste of one now. Very, very good. I get the soft crumbliness of the biscuit or the cookie with just a little hint of the passion fruit, and then as I encounter the sweetness of the icing, that passion fruit flavour comes through even more. These are very, very good indeed, and very simple to make. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I should say you could use other flavours. You could use some lemon juice, orange juice, even sort of raspberry puree or strawberry puree if you wanted to make different flavours. But so that will be it for today, and I hope you've enjoyed the recipe, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.